of a word. Any word. It can be a noun, a verb, or an adjective. Like an apple. And search it up on Wikipedia. Then continue by clicking on the first hyperlinked word of each Wikipedia page. What do you think will happen? Would you be surprised if I told you that over 97% of the time, you will end up on the philosophy page? While this might seem like a simple internet game, I believe this to be a direct representation of the fact that philosophy plays a profound and fundamental role in shaping our world. As the 20th century philosopher Bertrand Russell said, "In daily life, only a great amount of thought enables us to know what it is that we really may believe." Philosophy transcends being a mere hobby by historical intellectuals. Rather, it is the foundation of understanding our universe. Various philosophers of the past have understood and appreciated this important aspect of philosophy. Ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle famously asserted, "The unexamined life is not worth living," conveying his belief that philosophy exists as a means of self-evaluation and development to reach his idea of an ideal life, or eudaimonia. 17th century English philosopher John Locke believed philosophy to be a fundamental tool in understanding human governance and social order. 18th century German philosopher Immanuel Kant believed philosophy to be an endeavor to reach the moral truth, which can unravel the complexities of ethical dilemmas and lead us to the absolute answer as to how we can live. In the 20th century post-World War II era, philosophy was considered a dominant pop culture. It was even featured in pop culture magazines like Esquire. Certain philosophers were considered as celebrities, their lectures flooding with eager students. However, as we journey through time to the present day, our collective appreciation for philosophy seems to have waned. What was once a fervent love and interest for philosophy has now been replaced with indifference and neglect. In the current era, it is uncommon to see a passionate crowd diving into the most recent philosophical debates and lectures. Indeed, a recent research conducted by Singh, a data specialist of a World Islamic Scientific and Education University, states, "There's been a significant loss of interest and underappreciation of philosophy within the global educational community." One of the countries in which the loss of philosophy education is most severe is South Korea, my home country. Recent research conducted by the National Research Foundation of Korea shows a constant decline in the statistics of philosophy education. The number of philosophy majors in South Korean universities has declined 25%. The number of philosophy professors in South Korean universities decreased 23%. The number of students majoring in philosophy in South Korean universities decreased 40%. These statistics paint a troubling picture of the state of philosophy education within South Korea. Yet, the lack of interest is only a single aspect of the educational problem in South Korea. The quality of the education itself is also deficient. I have been educated in philosophy in two major institutions. The first is a traditional Korean middle school back in Seoul, and the second is a more international background, the middle school of KISJ. In a traditional Korean middle school back in Seoul, philosophy was not a separate subject, but was rather a part of the broader study of 도덕, or ethics. Unfortunately, philosophy took only a small portion of the class of 도덕. Also, the subject 도덕 itself was considered secondary to subjects that were deemed more academically crucial, such as English or mathematics. Often, it was the class that everyone slept through to keep their energy to focus on the more important classes. Then, I transferred to Korea International School Jeju, and encountered the philosophy elective class of the middle school. I had high expectations about a class solely focused on philosophy. Yet, the class did not meet my expectations. First of all, the class was solely focused on information. We learned what each philosopher had said and thought, rather than being asked what we want to say and what we think. We were given a comic strip that we had to make based on Plato's analogy, rather than understanding the context and the meaning of the analogy itself. We even had a multiple choice summative, in which we had to answer questions based on our blind memorization of the full names of philosophers and a word-by-word memorization of the quotes that they had said. This is the reality of philosophy education within South Korea. It is based on memorization, testing, and it neglects individual perspectives. Yet, this contradicts the very nature of philosophy. Philosophy is not meant to be a subject of passive absorption and memorization. Rather, it demands active engagement, deep reflection, and an ability to apply philosophical concepts to real-life situations. As Professor Stefan Bloch-Schulman states, the true teaching of philosophy should be on constructing experiences for students to reveal what their beliefs are and who they are as unique individuals, rather than making them follow a set expectation. However, the current education system's focus on grading policies and standardized testing inhibits students and teachers from accessing this type of ideal philosophy education. Because after all, how can one grade the true depth of your thoughts? I believe this educational deficit is an extremely unfortunate and urgent problem to address in our current society, especially as we step into the future. This contemporary context here refers to one where artificial intelligence is emerging as a dominant technological force. Artificial intelligence has been the primary focus in both academic and educational spheres over the past few decades, pointed as the cornerstone of scientific and societal development. It has been the center of focus for both the general public and scholars, often likened to a yet imperfect replica of the human brain. This graph illustrates the increase in the number of AI journal publications over the past few decades. The statistics of the year 2020 surpasses that of the year 2000 by 5 times. This reflects a rapid escalation in the interest for philosophy, which would interest for artificial intelligence, which would inevitably lead to rapid development of the technology itself. However, it is dangerous to believe that such technology can lead the future on its own. Artificial intelligence relies on repetitive learning patterns and data inputs, akin to a single aspect of human cognition. However, it is crucial to acknowledge that this represents only a fraction of the whole human decision-making process. As Tegmark writes in his book, Life 3.0, Being Human in the Age of Artificial Intelligence, while AI has the potential to revolutionize many aspects of society, it's imperative to remember that human values and moral reasoning are essential for guiding its development and deployment. Humans do not make decisions solely based on past experiences. Rather, we make use of our moral compasses and ethical, innate stances to guide us through the most important questions in life. Despite controversy, various scholars believe artificial intelligence lacks the capacity to possess personal morality. Rather, they advocate for the integration of human rationality to complement this inherent limitation in our newest technology. As Sturmus corroborates, by combining philosophical inquiry with ethical reasoning, people will be equipped to tackle the complex ethical challenges that arise from integrating AI into society. Education in the art of moral navigation through philosophy stands as a crucial means to achieve this integration and ensure AI development adheres to our ethical imperatives. Another critical point of intersection between artificial intelligence and philosophy lies in our perception of ourselves as Homo sapiens, or thinking beings. There has been considerable contemplation over whether artificial intelligence qualifies as an individual possessing its own identity. While looking at it through a scientist's lens can offer valuable insights, what can be a fresh perspective is that of a philosopher's. Philosophy views topics such as authenticity and self-identity. For instance, Sartre's existentialist philosophy revolves around themes such as freedom, choice, and authenticity, all of which can enrich the discussion of artificial intelligence's identity and individuality. While I have addressed the lack of philosophy education as a global issue, I would like to note a country that puts more emphasis in the education of philosophy than others: France. The French college entrance exam, or the baccalaureate, contains a philosophy essay exam in which students are required to demonstrate their philosophical knowledge and add their individual perspective into the paper. Also, in the education system itself, philosophy is one of their common core subjects, which students are mandated to listen to before they can graduate high school. If a student majors in humanities, they might study up to 8 hours of philosophy a week during their educational life. This all reflects the emphasis that France puts in their philosophy education. Yet, as a student myself, I understand that an abrupt change in the curriculum can bring potential stress for students. However, it is crucial to acknowledge that technological advancements and AI developments are happening rapidly and abruptly, and we must keep pace with these changes. Therefore, I suggest implementing a step-by-step program to implement philosophy into our educational system. Rather than introducing philosophy as a separate subject, I suggest integrating philosophy into the subjects that we deem as important, the core subjects of the current educational system. By implementing philosophy into core subjects such as English, mathematics, or social studies, it will make philosophy a much more approachable and easy subject for students who feel that philosophy is distant. What else? Students can also take proactive steps to engage in their own philosophical learning. As a student who has embarked on a journey to learn philosophy just half a year ago, I have lots of suggestions to give. The first is the most approachable entry point, a TV show called The Good Place. It is one of the most comedic and fascinating TV shows I've ever watched, and also one of the best at incorporating philosophical themes into its plot and setting. Set in an afterlife, where people are assigned to the good or bad place based on their life before death. The TV show follows characters as they encounter ethical dilemmas and fascinating challenges that can be interpreted in philosophical terms. There's also a book that analyzes the TV show and offers further insight. What else? There are always introductory books. I have encountered a lot of introductory books during my search for the greatest book to enrich my understanding. The best that I have found is Philosophy, the Classics by Nigel Warburton. What makes this book stand out is its comprehensive approach to the philosophical classic books. Rather than simply listing the claims and philosophical facts within the book, Nigel Warburton goes through counterpoints and modern viewpoints that can offer an insight into the philosophy classics, therefore broadening our understanding. Yes, STEM will lead our future, and artificial intelligence will be the crucial point. However, what is important to understand is that the flourishment of AI necessitates a collective understanding rooted in philosophy. I'm not asking you to become a philosopher who can dissect Nietzsche. I'm not asking you to wake up one day and criticize Confucius. Rather, I'm asking you to ask yourself the same profound questions that philosophers ask themselves since the ancient times. Be your own philosopher. Because one day, the impact of a single individual who possesses the ability to think critically and philosophically will outweigh that of blind memorization assignments, that of numerous AI advancements, and even that of established norms of society. Thank you.